Hi, guys. So we've just recorded the Getting to Know Us podcast. If you haven't listened to that already, then make sure you do. This episode, we are going to dive into the world of social media and how you can use it to help grow your business. All of us have had great success with social media. So let's kick it off. John, how do you use social media? What platforms do you use and how are you using it for your real estate business?
Yeah, so I'll tell you something. From when I started, and I'm sure it's the same story for a lot of people who've worked in corporate agency for a long time. You're starting to see it creeping in a little bit more into some agencies, but for the majority, it wasn't something you really used, and you might have had it for your own personal use. Of which I had a Facebook account, which was mainly stuff with my family, um, and I didn't have an Instagram account at all. I did have one, but I didn't really use it at all. I think I had like 10 followers or something. And I had a LinkedIn account which I used from a business point of view, but I didn't really do much with it. And those are the three which I still have today. I don't use TikTok. I probably should. And I don't use Twitter. Again, it's not something. What's it called now? It's called something else, isn't it? X, isn't
X.
it?
We're still
That's
going
it.
to
Yeah,
call
yeah,
it Twitter, though.
yeah. You're still going to call it Twitter. But so I had to learn quite quickly how to use, not to how to use it, but how to use it properly for business. And I went on quite a bit of training that was put on by EXP actually, which was really helpful. Um, and I started with Facebook initially and it has different uses. So I used my Facebook, and had quite good success with the kind of community side of Facebook. So the groups that exist on Facebook. In my local area, there are two main groups. One is called the SWAT Mums Group, and the other is Earlsfield Local. Both of those have in excess of 10,000 members on them. And it was really good because I went out into local community and I started doing just daily posts about the local area and about things which I thought was engaging. I went and did a coffee series where I went to every single coffee shop in Earlsfield and then reviewed the coffee and posted that up onto my Facebook. And it started to get a bit more engagement. I mean, I don't really have my Facebook business page has very little, has very few followers, not a huge number, but they're all organic followers that are in our local area, which is good. But I use the groups extensively and I post into them when I'm allowed to. And I think that's key, is to not go and spam the hell out of these groups with your sort of call to action post, because people just won't like that. And you'll very quickly find that you'll probably get kicked off. So it's all about 80-20 rule as a kind of basic business kind of setup, is that you're giving out 80% content and then 20% you're asking back for stuff. And that was really good. It's been very good for me. Instagram, I mean, James will talk about it a bit more on Instagram because his is very strong. My Instagram had to grow from nothing. I'm nearly at 1,000 now, but not quite. Which is, most people, especially proper influencers, will look at that and go, "Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous." But it's something which I'm working on. But my big thing for me, from a business point of view and agency brokerage type sort of setup, has been LinkedIn. I've got I get really good engagement from the posts that I put on there, and that's been really good because I've kind of built up certainly within the agency world a lot of contacts, and now starting to move more into the business world. But I think initially my biggest wins came from Facebook, but again it was all a learning curve for me because I didn't really. And then again the next thing is moving into video and getting comfortable seeing yourself on camera, and that was completely out of comfort zone. And I do videos for most of my listings. In fact, all of my listings now. Some of them are more produced than others. I think it's good to mix it up. And then I start to put those onto YouTube, and then have that as being the next sort of thing which I need to work on growing more. And I think obviously with Google being linked to or owns YouTube, it's good because you can obviously use that to increase your engagement with people that are searching for certain things. I did a couple of info videos, which I'll probably get back into, which I haven't done. Actually, this is probably an evolution of that, but I did that at the start. There was one where London licensing is quite big in terms of rental, and they brought in a new licensing scheme into lettings into Lambeth, and I did like an info video on that. I've had people call me randomly off Google, calling me to say, "Oh, are you can you tell me a little bit about Lambeth licensing, please, so you can help me because they're doing their applications." So it does work. But yeah, that's in a nutshell my kind of usage of social media.
It's interesting the Facebook stuff that you were doing. I got really engaged by that, and I thought you did a really good job. I think one of the things that I'd always advise people to do, I'm not very good at this, is I do a little bit of everything all the time, and I'm not very good at focusing. And I think one of the things you talked about was Facebook is probably the area you've had most success in. I think it's good often to focus on probably just one social media platform to begin with, and really look at trying to build an audience with that. And also have a look at your audience. So if you're going after student-lets, as an example, right, then Facebook is not the place to be posting. You're going to be you want to be on TikTok for that. If your audience is 40 plus, Facebook is the best place for that. If you're looking for mums, for example, and family homes, then Facebook is the right place for that, and probably TikTok isn't if you're going to look at older people. It's really good idea to think about what your target audience is and then concentrate on one or two of the social media platforms. Because
I suppose it's all well good getting loads and loads of followers and engagement, but if that, you've got to think, what's the purpose for it? If you want to be, you get a nice fuzzy feeling about being kind of celeb status and people liking your posts, then great. But if you're thinking about, well, I'm doing this because I want to generate business, well, you could have 10 million views on TikTok from teenagers all around the world, but is that going to translate into a listing for you? Probably not. But if you get 10,000 local mums reading your stuff that you're putting out on, and then they're thinking about selling their home, and they sit down with their husband and go, oh, hang on a minute, why don't we use this local guy who's been posting on Facebook? That, around here is an average fee of 10, 15, 20,000 quid. I think I'd probably rather take the listing than the 10 million views, to be honest, personally.
Even though you could probably monetize the 10 million views, but that's another topic altogether.
Yes. Yeah. You probably could, yeah. That's different. Digressing.
Yeah. So James, you're obviously doing a really good job with your Instagram. I really like it. So talk to us about your social media background and what you're doing with it.
I'm not a very polished person. I think my Instagram is just me being me. It's very authentic. Sometimes I think I should spend more time on the videos, but I just pick up the phone. I'm walking down the street. I'm here to sell a house. I think people, when I get mixed reviews, but I think people are saying you are very much just yourself, and hopefully kind of people buy into that. It's part of the journey for some new agents who have just joined the network recently. I encourage them to use Instagram, but just be yourself. Just enjoy the journey. Everyone's very supportive of these journeys that we are going on. So Instagram has been great for me. I then link it to my Facebook business account as well. As John said, you have to be quite mindful about the groups that you post into Facebook. Prime example is that I listed a house. I live in South Croydon. I also kind of cover the Crystal Palace area. I listed a house in the Crystal Palace local Facebook group. And the actual house is on the top of the hill. There was someone commenting that the hill's too big. It takes too long to walk to the station. So I politely replied, say, well, this is the best way to walk off your Christmas turkey, and you're saving a gym membership. So that then had more engagement, and then the local community were liking that, some kind of commenting more. So you have to be mindful about the local Facebook groups that you are in. But then social media is free. When you start your business, when we're mindful of costs, social media is a free way to market yourself. So Instagram, link it to your Facebook business page, reshare that onto your Facebook personal page. If you've got a Google business page, use the same content, but upload it to your Google business page as well. So yeah, it's been great for me. And then I get a lot of listings now through social media. I think the house in Crystal Palace that actually came from me posting in the Crystal Palace local group. It's been great for me. Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. I guess I do more business posts on LinkedIn as well. That's more about, I guess, the network we're building, agents reaching out to us. But when it comes to actual vendors and landlords, yeah, social media has been great for me.
And what are you guys posting in the groups? I know John mentioned that the local coffee shops and all of that. Are you doing, James? Are you doing lots of local content as well, or just saying I've got this house for sale? What are you doing?
Yeah, so mine is more about the listings that I have or the results that I have. If I've got a listing coming up in CR2 where I'm based, I would post that as a pre-launch to the local community. Hey guys, I want to give you this before going live. You then get engaged that way, and then if you sell a house and if you get a good review, put that also into the local CR2 group. Because people are going to be watching you. It might not be immediate, but you'll then be known as that local agent in your local community.
And do you guys have any kind of like social media calendar at all where you make sure that you post a certain amount of times or do anything like that?
No. I'm very much on the go. I mean, because of how my brain works, if I need to do something, I need to get it done and get it out of my brain. So I can't save content for Friday I would just rather get it shared there and then, really. Instagram, Google business page, Facebook, job done, you move on to the next.
What about you, John?
I try. It's if you have the time space to schedule and to do that, I think when you're a busy agent who's got quite a lot of listings and you're doing meeting. I mean, we meet lots of new agents that are thinking about coming and joining us. Probably every week nearly. We've got some form of meeting in there as well. At least probably 3 or 4 times over that course of that week. So I tend to just like James. It's more of a with my LinkedIn stuff. I try to do that in the morning just so that people can get that post when they're on their way to work and have a read through it. I think that's when people tend to engage in that. But I just do that because it's just first thing in the morning. It comes into my head, and those tend to be business posts. But the Instagram and the Facebook stuff. Facebook, I can only post into it on a Friday for SW18 Mums. So that's the only time I can actually go as a business and post in it. So that already schedules me anyway. I probably could do more organised stuff, but I think actually, as James said, I think if you've started off on that kind of organic organic way of doing things, people not expect it. But I mean, one of the, I did one where I was just walking down the street talking about how crazy the lettings market was in the summer, and just people were all over that and just listened to it because it was, like James said, it's not polished. It was just taken with an iPhone walking along the road.
I think if you naturally already have a lot of content and put a lot of content out there, you don't necessarily have to go to the effort of, going for that. But I think a lot of people struggle with that. So I think a lot, in regards to like coaching in the past that I've had is just schedule stuff out and say every Monday I'm going to do a post about, for example, what a local place. So I'm going to make an effort on a Monday to go to a different place to have lunch or have a coffee and talk about that place, for example. And then also they'll schedule out times of the year as well. So they'll make an effort. So like, happy Christmas and do stuff like that. You might not want to actually do it on that day. So maybe put it a week before Christmas into your calendar. You're going to put a social media post out there and say happy Christmas, for example. And then the other thing which was massive for me in the US is I would monthly do a market update and I would email it to everyone. I'd put it on my social media. I put it on YouTube and I actually did it with my chosen lender at the time. And so we would do it together and he would talk about what the interest rates are, what different products there are on the market for different types of people, first time buyers and stuff like that. I would talk about, maybe because it's a bit more complicated in the US. Well, I suppose it would be like talking about like the stamp duties risen here, for example. And we would do like a monthly chat and we would say every Tuesday, 2:00, we're going to do that. So I think it's definitely good to have some things put in there. That one of the things I would say to you, James, it sounds like you're not doing a lot of the local content. I would seriously think about doing more of what John does. It's what I'm going to do in Winchester, and you've got a very engaging personality on social media. So I would just, when you're out and about going to a coffee shop naturally, just say I'm in this place today. You got, as you're walking in, guys, you should check out this place. I've just had a great coffee here or whatever.
It's true.
And I think I think it's really good to do that.
I
think James, you have done quite. I mean, there's quite a lot of times when you're taking photos of flat whites, and I think everyone was like,
James, I've got mixed reviews. Like, how many flat whites have you had this week, James?
Exactly, yeah.
But I remember when I started, because I wasn't busy. I remember some of I was taking videos of developers bringing in like windows in the back of a truck, and I got a lot of my mates saying, "James, some of your content, James, you might as well be taking photos of bins." So I actually sent some private photos of bins. But then for new agents who are joining the network now, I guess we've got 30 agents in the network, so a lot of them can actually come and repurpose our content. So Wilma, she's just started, been at EXP now for a month, so I've got her to do some of my viewings for me. So she has a lot of content from actual stock that I have. So when you have an agent, a network the size that we do now, all of these new agents, there's a lot of ways to be busy. Come and shadow myself, come and shadow John, do viewings for us, come and learn how we are on valuations, do some viewings for us. So there's a lot more content available now to kind of get your content out there initially.
Yeah,
so whenever
it's so
I
true,
would do, sorry, go on, John.
No, I was going to say when James was started with me in XP probably about 4 months after or 5 months after I'd started, and we didn't have anyone else really to go. Like James was saying, you know, you'd had to fill your content up with walking around trying to get photos of stuff that's happening. Whereas, you know, I mean, I took a picture of a hoarding that had a load of like it was in Earlsfield, and it's got all these huge plants growing out of it. And I called it the Earlsfield jungle, and saying what the hell's going on with this? And it was just posting that kind of silly content stuff. But actually now an agent can come and join up, walk into, you know, a bunch of guys that have got, you know, 20, 30, 40 listings on the market as a group. And go and walk into those places and take videos of themselves doing it. And that, you know, they're already getting a huge push in their acceleration of their growth, because to the general public, that looks like they're actually doing a lot more than they actually are. Now, I'm not saying that's hoodwinking people, but you know what social media is like. It makes it. But if you've not got anything to show, you do look like the guy who's just starting out.
I remember when I first started in the US, one of the good things about in the US is because they do open houses, you can just turn up and view homes quite easily on a Saturday. So I could go. I remember when I first started, I went and go and saw 12 open houses on my first day. Just boom, boom, boom. And then I would do videos of, oh, look at this amazing place, blah blah blah, and other people in my office, if they had a home for sale, I would just go and say, take a look at this listing. And it made it look like I had 1 million listings myself. It made it look like I was the most busy agent in the world, when really, as you say, I just started and I had no business at all. And people will, if they believe you're busy, will trust you more to sell their home than someone who's not busy. So even if you haven't got 10 homes on the market, if you go into like an appraisal, for example, and you say, we've got 10 homes on the market at the moment, and you show the other people that you're working with and connected with our group, for example, and you say, we've got 10 homes on the market, we've got this one, we sold that one, you know, the house down the road, we sold that one last week. It does make you sound busier. So that's one of the best things I think social media is great at. Is in some ways we hate it because everyone portrays themselves to be better than what they are. And let's face it, a lot of people look incredible on social media and they look like they've got the most amazing life in the world when they maybe don't. But that's also a good thing with social media, is we can make, especially when you're first starting, you can make yourself out to be this $1 billion agent when really you've just started.
But it's also being real and being authentic as well. When I sold a house over in Sutton, fire damage, that was horrific. One of the worst houses that I've ever sold. But on the actual video, I walked around and said, "Oh, it just needs a lick of paint." Obviously, that wasn't true at all. But then people just liked, just have a bit of fun. Have a bit of fun. Just have a bit of fun. It's part of the journey. I said, John didn't have an Instagram account, and neither of our content is polished at all. And sometimes I wish I spent more time doing better videos. But then, just be yourself and enjoy it, really.
I think it's also getting, to take a sort of a coaching tip that I got, so basically get out of your own way and don't worry too much about what people will think, because that's a big barrier for a lot of people, especially being in front of the camera or talking, thinking I'm going to say the wrong thing or people aren't going to like what I put out there. And even if they don't like it, if they engage with it, that's not a problem. You know, I think some people also might be a bit scared of getting trolled or having people say negative things about them. If someone says something negative, you can always turn it around into a positive, and don't take it personally. There are always going to be people out there that are going to be idiots and just not are unkind. You know, don't worry about that. I think, you know, if you just do it, take the video of yourself, put it up there, and then see what happens. And just don't, you know, think about it later.
And then if you are getting negative comments, that's only a good thing, because then you stay at the top of Facebook and Instagram, so you stay more you stay in people's minds like more anyway.
I think one of the biggest things, difference between how we're doing our business compared to like a normal estate agency, is the fact that we really do brand ourselves, and we're different. I think often when you go for just a normal estate agency, you're not really getting to know the individual people that are selling your home. Quite often you have it where you might have a meeting with someone and then you never see them again. They have other people, coming in to do the viewings. And I think one of the biggest things with being an individual agent, like essentially we are, and it's our own business, is we can brand ourselves and you can really get to know us. And that's one of the things that I've always done with my social media is, some people have different opinions on, having your family on social media, but I've always marketed myself as a family man. And so if I'm at Disneyland, I would put, here I'm at Disneyland with the kids and things. And I would really, and I found that really helped me get a lot of families to use me because they could connect and see that I was a family person. And they were like, I want to use him to sell my home. So I've always used it to kind of, as you say, show my personality, but also show that I'm a family man, I'm a good husband. And so I think it's a really good way of people connecting with you. And some people aren't going to like you. I've had it my whole life. John knows this from school. A lot of people don't necessarily like me, but I'm also one of these people that a lot of people do like. And what I find is because I'm so extreme, it's the people that I really like, that I spend a lot of time and effort on, that I get a lot of business from. And if people don't like me, that's fine. They can go with someone else. But if you're just in the middle and everyone forgets you, you're not going to get much business.
Yeah, some of the agents who have joined recently, they've said, James, I'm going to set up a separate Instagram business account. I was like, well, people, they want to see you. It doesn't matter if you have kids. It doesn't matter if you like baking. It doesn't matter if you like going cycling. People actually want to, they want to buy into you. So maybe I kept my personal one. So it's a mixture of personal, social activities. I was at rugby on Saturday and then some property stuff as well. So people buy into not just you as the agent, but you as a person. And then what I would say is just connect with anybody and everybody. Anytime when I go to my wife's friends' parties, I always connect with her friends on Instagram. She's like, why are you doing that? And then you connect, they then follow you. That has then led to a lot of listings on the back of my wife's friends following me. So just connect with anybody and everybody. Put yourself out there and just have some fun, have some fun doing it as well.
I suppose that's probably. Sorry to interrupt, James. I was just saying. I think it's a good point for myself. I've just thought of I don't do that enough, I suppose, in terms of getting people to join on Instagram, because I kind of think, why would they want to see my business stuff? But then on the flip side, I'm always thinking about with LinkedIn, I don't care about it. Yeah. And I suppose thinking them both in the same way would probably help my engagement to grow more on Instagram.
Yeah. When I speak to a client, I actually send them my Instagram profile. Say, follow me on Instagram. Here's my Google business page. That is me. That gives you an idea about how I work as an agent. So as opposed to me going around to evaluation and pitching from the start, they've already looked at my Instagram. They've seen what I've sold. They've seen how I am as an agent. So I deliberately send my Instagram to them. I have to be mindful about what posts I put about nightmare clients on a transaction. There's no nightmare clients, just a harder client to get over the line. Yeah, so I use my Instagram profile deliberately with vendors and clients as well.
So
there's the trouble with... Sorry, James, I interrupted you again. Go again.
No worries. Yeah, with my own Instagram, originally I just had one Instagram. So that, as like you said, James, everything that I ever did was on that Instagram. I've got a bit of an interesting thing now where I'm also got a side business of being a football agent, and I've mainly turned my personal into football stuff. So I've got a separate one for real estate now, just because it's going to get unbelievably confusing for people to see both. So, but even with that business one, I'm going to basically treat it like my personal one and put a lot of my personal stuff on there. So that will be probably more of like a personal one, but I'll kind of have two just to keep it separate. But talking about like sending people and people getting to know you, whenever I used to go, you call them appraisals here in the US, we call them listing appointments. Before I would go to an appraisal, I would always send them information about me, and I'd actually send them my YouTube channel. And then on my YouTube channel, I would have lots of content on, best restaurants in the area, that type of stuff, to show that I'm a local area expert. And then on there, I've gone on, a few other podcasts and stuff like that. So there'd be stuff on there so they can really see that I've been interviewed by top people. So I'm an expert. And then I'd have all the listing videos on there. So they would And then what I did is also I edited like little clips from my listing videos and all the other marketing stuff and put it together as like a highlights reel. So before I even turned up, they would know a lot about what I'm about before I turned up. So you mentioned that, James, about giving over like your Instagram and stuff. That's another reason why I think doing more with YouTube for you, James, as an example, is if you've got a lot of content out there, then you can share that with them, and it can help you get more business in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Always learning. Yeah, we're always learning.
That's the whole point.
Advice,
I think
advice to the network,
we can learn from each other on this podcast. This is what's great, is the fact that we can keep each other accountable as well. So we can talk about what are you looking to do to improve your social media, for example, and we can set each other goals on this as well, and say like we talk in regards to like having followings and stuff like that, and posting content. I think this is a great way for all of us as well to improve our own business, and along the way it will hopefully improve others.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good thing for people to, especially, we're trying to help people personally, but obviously if anyone else is good at this engagement and thinking about, how do I do this? How do I generate leads? And, can I do it by myself? And I think you definitely can. It's just a case of being surrounded by the right people. And that's where, it really helps you to grow by having good people around you.
Yeah, I think what we'll do in the future is we'll get actual like experts on particular fields within social media as well. So, there are people out there, for example, that just purely do YouTube, and they'll just do like literally a video a day and just put it out there on, local content and things like that. And they will get just a ridiculous amount of people reaching out to them just because of the content they're creating on YouTube. So, that's what we'll look to do. So if anyone's listening to this and you're an expert in a certain field, like one thing I've never even gone on, for example, is Snapchat, for example. I don't know if anyone's ever made real estate successful and got leads from that, but there's so many different avenues, and social media is changing every day. And obviously us three aren't the youngest now. We're pushing on a little bit. So there'll be younger people that know way more about this type of stuff than what we will.
Definitely. Absolutely.
So before we go to day, guys, is there anything else that you want to chat about, or anything about social media today?
I think there's the value in a listing. So how much can you? Yeah, I guess whenever you get a listing, you want to get as much value from that in regards to getting your videos out there on all of the platforms, not just to sell that listing, but then that will then help to get other clients and vendors on the back of all of that. Look at the efforts you went to sell that big house, or maybe a small one bedroom flat. If you're doing a lot of marketing costs or marketing effort to get that sold, it's not about getting. Well, I don't think it actually helps to sell the listing, but it certainly helps to get vendors and the clients off the back of it.
Yeah, it's also not
100%.
to forget that it doesn't always have to be the beautiful stuff. Like, the Instagram and Facebook and and all the other platforms and the TV, selling sunset, all of that is always the beautiful homes.
Yeah.
And I started doing what I call like Wonky Veg series, which is basically stuff that, isn't pretty, but it's still a saleable property. It's still something that someone can buy and use. And, the majority of property on the listing, if you go onto Rightmove, it's not this, most beautiful, gorgeous mansions that are, millions and millions of pounds. Some of it is, just the bog standard stuff, but it's good to get all of that out as well, because once it increases your sort of your reach and your content that you're putting out there. But those vendors that bought it, they deserve the same service as the guy that's got the big, beautiful homes as well.
And one of the things I would say is you talk about, obviously you've got like Homes Under the Hammer, for example, and those types of shows, and often it is homes that need a bit of TLC. And I actually tried to do like a little series where I actually filmed a few episodes of a home actually being renovated. So one of my clients bought a home that was really not in a great state. And so we went through the process, and I said, can I, the plan was to flip it and I would sell the home for him. But I went in every couple of weeks and we filmed the progress that he had through the process, and actually selling it at the end. So if you've got any homes like that, if you've got someone who's buying a house that needs work, speak to the people who are doing it, especially if you've got someone who's going to flip it, and say, can I come in and actually film this and take you through the process and then help you sell it at the other end, I think is a really, really good idea as well. And just, I know you mentioned, James, in regards to it actually might not actually help sell the home, the video. The funny thing is the sellers don't know that. We're mainly doing the video to promote us, but the truth is the sellers think it's amazing, and it can help. 100% it will help.
Well, I think it I think it definitely does. I think it helps on both sides. So it's funny you're talking about sort of learning part there, which you just mentioned about filming a renovation project. Just I sold one about probably 7-8 months ago to someone who I knew was doing some work to it, and we were talking about mistakes in the last podcast. Well, we're always learning, and also that learning has a cost to it. This one, I kept in touch with him and asked him how's it getting on, but I didn't think. What I should have done is asked him, can I kind of film it as it goes along and post it up, because I knew something was going to happen with it. And then I forgot about it over Christmas, and then I just happened to see it, and he put it on with someone else and sold it with someone else. And so it's like I missed a trick there, and I could have got that by continuing the aftercare and also basically getting the client involved in the engagement of pushing it. Or putting it out there on social media as it goes along, because I think
I'm taking this on to a completely random topic now, but this is the podcast is going to be like that. We will go on to like random topics as we go. But do you do closing gifts? Is it a big thing here? Because in the US, I would often spend, I don't know, probably on average £100 on a closing gift when we closed. And like we would give these amazing, I don't think you have Cutco knives in the UK, but we'd give these amazing knives that will last forever and cut through anything. And they'd be branded with us on that. And I remember once this Italian family, they bought a home, and so I bought her a pizza cutter that had it, and like a pizza board so she could do that. And depending on the family, I might get them something, but it would always be a one. I bought them oh God, what do you call it now? It's this game in the US, and I bought it and I branded it with my business stuff on there. And so is that a thing here? Do you do closing gifts at all?
I do.
So I personally just buy a bottle of champagne. Yeah, a bottle of champagne. There's nothing more annoying than when you work your socks off, you go and congratulate the new buyer, the bottle of champagne, and he just takes it and walks off and doesn't say thank you. It's like, oh, I could have kept that for myself. So a bottle of champagne. I guess that is kind of part of growing my business, where at some point I might like to have like a branded item of some sort, so it stays in the house. I know, John, at some point you were doing branded, was it chopping boards or something?
Yeah, I had chopping boards which I got branded with my name and my logo on it, and I stopped doing it, annoyingly. I think why I stopped was because it was that same reason. I went and gave it to someone, and he literally just threw it in his bag and then walked off again. And I was like, oh, really? And then but actually, I should not be. You don't get affected by just one result. And then it got to the wayside. But I always give someone a bottle of champagne and definitely go and leave it. Well, I try to meet every buyer to hand the keys over personally. I can't always do it. I had one completed on
a lender that I worked with in the US, and oh my God, he did this amazing thing, and it just reminded me that I've got to do it here. He did gifts for a whole year. So what he did was, they call it like you getting into escrow in the US, but basically, essentially, it's just when you accept the offer. He will like send you a little gift to say congratulations on accepting the offer, and then when it gets through different stages, he'll give gifts. When it closes, he'll give a gift, and then he'll give a gift. So when you actually come to like 3 days before you're moving or something like that, he'll send you a moving box. Basically, it's a branded box, and in it will be stuff that you have that you've forgotten that you might need during the process, like toothpaste, toilet roll.
Okay.
He'll give you a £10 Pizza Hut voucher and just say, obviously you don't want to cook when you first move into your home. Here's a £10 voucher. And he would do that. And then he would, during the process, he would give you useful gifts. And then he'd give you like a funny gift. Like in the US, I remember he told me, like, you were either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. And he would buy Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump toilet paper. And then if you hated Donald Trump, he'd buy you Donald Trump toilet paper, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And so often the gifts weren't actually of any real cost, but he kept in contact with them for 12 months. His retain rate and referral rate was bigger than I've ever known anyone else have in business. So it's just little things like that I'll probably bring in that I know from America were massive, and it would be good for us to try stuff like that and just see how we get on, because they really do kill it in America in regards to like referrals and staying in contact with people. And I think what they generally do here is they just get your business, close it, and move on.
I mean, I sometimes think about how I can improve my business that way. I mean, I haven't done any follow-up gifts after they've completed. Obviously, I always kind of stay in contact. A lot of my clients, they follow me on Instagram as well. But yeah, maybe one to kind of think about for the future, really.
I think like Christmas cards and things like that, and sort of Happy New Year kind of thing. It's good to send out. I went to go and send a load of Christmas cards to all clients this Christmas, and then got sidetracked and didn't do it. It's made me think I need to remember to do that.
That's where we'll keep it
at some point.
Keep ourselves accountable for that, and we'll say, "Have you done it yet?"
There's only so much time in the day, and that's just a very bad excuse. Where actually I shouldn't be saying that. I should be getting people. Maybe leverage kind of comes in key there. Where if you're saying that you're busy or there's only too much time in the day, that means that you need to get these tasks, someone else doing them for you. Yeah. So that hold me accountable. Yeah, I shouldn't say that ever again.
Awesome. Right, how do we get hold of you guys? Tell us your social media so we can follow you on social media.
So Instagram, James Hughes Property. That's the main one for me.
So Instagram for me is _London_agent. You can find me on LinkedIn as well under Jonathan Woods, and and obviously under normal channels via email and WhatsApp.
And you can follow me on Instagram, JG_EXP. So thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. We're going to do another one short in a moment on networking. So that'll be a really good one. And make sure you follow us on the podcast. Give us a review as well. And boys, look forward to chatting to you in a minute about networking.
Yeah, speak soon.
Bye.